and we will resume where we were speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And are we? I see that we are broadcasting. So as I was just saying, we are doing a Kickstarter for our Infinite Tarot. We're hoping tonight that we will see it go over the $10,000 mark. It's almost there. And at that point, we're going to be adding an additional perk in the form of the Suit of Witches, which is all ready to go. It's just waiting for the mark. The Infinite Tarot uses the Tarot of Hecate as its base. It has this lovely infinity sign on the back designed by Marianne Kay. These are some of the cards from the Tarot of Hecate. And the Tarot of Hecate I designed back in the 1980s along with Corellian First Elder Lady Bitterwind, who is now among the ancestors. And it's an expanded tarot deck in its own right. It has additional major arcana cards and an additional suit, the Suit of Lamps, bringing it up to a 100-card deck. Lady Bitterwind felt that because we look at tarot as a visual scripture of the nature of the universe, that it needs to develop along with our understanding of the nature of the universe. It needs to expand with our understanding, and our understandings have expanded. And so the Infinite Tarot takes that already expanded tarot and expands it farther by introducing additional decks, additional suits, additional cards that the reader can add or subtract at will to create a unique tarot deck of their own, which involves cards that others will have, but no one in exactly the same combination will necessarily have exactly the same cards. In addition, we also have the Create Your Own Card option, which will allow you to have us create for you a unique card that can be only for your use, or you can add it to everybody's deck if they wish it. And we have 3 people who are signed up for that. Some of the additional things we're adding to Infinite Tarot include this deck based on the runes. It includes the 3 Aetir of the runes and illustrated as cards. Of course, rune cards have been around for a while, but traditionally it was more likely to be rune stones, but these are hardly the first rune cards. We also have a suit or a deck of numerology, which is based on the numbers, which you can add into your deck to expand it in that direction if numerology is a specialty or an interest of yours. We have astrology, which has the planets and the astrological signs, which you can use to add into your Infinite Tarot if that is more to your taste. And in this way, you can draw on your own individual strengths, not only what is in the preset tarot. We also have the 9 Muses, which are exactly what they sound like, the 9 Muses of Greek and Roman mythology. And we have the Shengzhou, which is the 12 signs of Asian astrology. And it all depends on what you find a resonance with. You would add them in. And some people might say that this is a great departure from traditional tarot. However, I would point out to them that this is actually far closer to how tarot was originally used. If we look at the oldest tarot decks that we know of, they do not follow the 78 card pattern that we use today. They were handmade for individual patrons, mostly Italian aristocrats, who would have various different things added into their major arcana beyond the things that we are familiar with today. Many of those same cards that we have today were already there, but things like astrological signs, planets, the Muses actually have a long history of being added into tarot. It's just that it is a history that's somewhat in the past, and this is a bit of a revival of it. The idea that your tarot deck should reflect your strengths, your interests, and your understanding of the universe, I would say is actually very traditional, as well as very revolutionary at the same time. Now, one of the things that I have offered is I would like to do some readings for people this evening, brief readings to show the cards, show how they work, show how easy it is to integrate these different concepts. And do we have anyone who would like a reading while we're broadcasting?
We have Nightshade. He has volunteered to be the first person.
Wonderful. Thank you, Nightshade. And do you have a particular question, or do you just want to see what they have to say for you?
I know. Let's see what they had to say for me, because the time's short. But I do a little tarot card reading myself, so I really want to buy this deck.
Oh, how cool. Thank you.
Definitely going to buy the deck.
Well, what I'm going to do, so I'm going to go ahead and add in the astrology deck to show how it integrates and how you would read it if it were to come up in the reading. So I'm first just going to clear the cards and also get them good and confused. And then
I like the way you shuffle. I'm going to steal that. That's a good way.
All my life I've shuffled this way. I know most people use the fan shuffle, but I could never do it. And I find, particularly with this deck that's expanded, this is much more convenient for me. And of course, it works just as well because shuffling is shuffling. So we are going to see what the cards have to say for Nightshade with no particular question, just whatever they have to throw at. And our first card is the Seven of Cups, followed by Cancer, followed by Past. So bearing in mind there's no particular questions, just general energy around you. The first card, the Seven of Cups, I understand. I would say that in this case, what I would say about the Seven of Cups is that things are fine, but there are things that you would like to have that maybe are not there, but maybe also are distractions. I would say that this is a card that says, pay attention to what you have that is good, and don't worry too much about what's not there at this time. Focus on what you do have, use the tools you have, use the resources that you have, and see them for the value they represent. With it is Cancer. Cancer is a very emotional card. You can see in the picture of all the water, the little crab head, crab mask. Cancer often has to do with the home. It often has to do with family. It often has to do with the matters of the heart. And it again is saying, pay attention to what's truly important. There are other things that would be nice, but focus on what you have that is good, and you will find your success in that. And the Past, which is one of those expanded major arcana cards from the Tarot of Hecate, you can see in the picture, it's an elderly woman looking into a mirror in the form of a pool and seeing her youth. And the way that I normally read this card is, do not be held up by your past. Look to your future instead. And so all of these together say that you're in a good situation. You've got what you need. You have many strengths. You have many good things. Make sure that you're looking at those and not what might not be there, because what might not be there is not really relevant at this moment, but what is will give you everything you need. I'm going to draw one last card, and then,
because you can't help yourself.
Because I can't help myself. And we've drawn the Fool, and I will turn him around for you.
That's my card.
Oh, perfect. And the way I understand the Fool is the chaos moment. It says that you can go in any direction you want to go. In the chaos moment, we break the patterns of the past and create the patterns of the future. And until the new pattern is created, it can be anything you want it to be. Just make sure that you know what you want it to be. And again, the cards are saying, focus on the skills, the strengths, and the situations you have rather than what you don't, and go forward with confidence and courage.
Yeah,
and there
that's
you go.
great. That was a great reading, because that's right on. And my hidden question was, I kind of want, I'm in college to become a counselor, and my past is my strengths, all the traumas I've been through. And I wanted to somehow in my mind try and figure out how tarot cards can fit into true counseling. And I think that reading kind of told me.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And one of the nice things about readings of any kind is often they will answer questions that are not asked.
Yeah.
And the reader doesn't know.
Yes.
So
Th-
I always find that fascinating.
Thank you very much. I'm going to be getting that deck.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Mhm.
And do we have someone else who would like to go?
We have Sir Mike would like a reading.
I think we have a couple of Sir Mikes. Which Mike do we are we bringing
Mike
forward?
Nelson.
Very good.
Sir Mike Nelson.
Sir Mike, do you have a particular question or just whatever they have to throw out to you? I see you, but I cannot hear you. If you have a particular question, you can also type it in the chat room and it will be relayed to me. Otherwise, we'll just draw some cards. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the Muse cards and I'm going to add them in for this reading. And I'm going to get them all nice and confused. And then we'll go forward.
Jason Dewey, Mike just, oh, there he is.
They've decided to be obstreperous for this one, which means there's a lot of energy and a lot of energy around you at this time.
Sir Mike says whatever they throw out.
And you'll notice they were not doing this in the previous reading. It is an aspect of this particular reading. So we have these two that have fallen out, and they are Thalia and Taurus, and we're going to draw 3. And our first card is Pisces. Our second card is Leo. You can see I'm drawing them from different parts of the deck, and I've shuffled it up and everything. And Aquarius. They just want to give an astrological answer to this one. So I'm going to start with the 3 that we specifically drew and then come back to the 2 that fell out. The first one is Pisces. Pisces is very emotional. It's very compassionate. It's very sympathetic. It's also tends to be rather drifty, for want of a better way to put it. With it is Leo. Leo also can be very compassionate, very dramatic, very proud, very intense, very intense, but usually in a positively intense sign. And then Aquarius, which is very mental and very concerned with the theoretics of things, the existential nature of things. And the 3 of these kind of align as mind, spirit, and emotion. And I would say that whatever is happening around you at this time is happening in all levels of your being. I'm going to draw another one to go with it. 6 of coins. 6 of coins represents getting help from others. And so I would say that you're in a situation where perhaps you're learning some things or otherwise working with other people that's causing you movement in all parts of yourself. Now, the 2 that fell out, Taurus and Thalia. Thalia is the muse of comedy. Thalia says, don't take things too seriously, don't sweat the small stuff, enjoy the ride. Taurus, which is almost the diametric opposite energy, says stick to your guns, make sure you get what you need from the situation, and pay attention to materialistic things. Make sure your bottom line is being met. And taking all of these together, I would say that in the present and the near future, there are influences around you which come from working with other people, either a one-on-one situation or a group situation, which are challenging your preconceptions, perhaps, moving you in directions that you might not have expected. And in facing those directions, you need to simultaneously keep yourself grounded and focused in your goals and desires, without letting it become too serious for you, while keeping a light heart about it. And if you do that, you should have a good outcome. I'm going to draw one more card for outcome because I, again, can't help myself. And we have the Princess of Swords, and the Princess of Swords represents careful communication, paying attention to communication, making sure that what you say is understood, and making sure you understand what is said to you. So keep a close eye on the communications, keep a close eye on your own goals and expectations, but at the same time, keep perspective on it all. Don't let it become more serious than it needs to be, and bring joy to the situation. And that is what I would see, without a particular question, just an energy around you. And I hope that was helpful.
Terrific. I have one.
Okay.
Lynn from the Daily Space. Looking for a general reading.
Lynn.
Lynn and she's on the Daily Spell. Said I don't Zoom, but she wanted a general reading.
Well, very good.
Yes, we do pay attention to the pages that we're broadcasting to as best we can.
Thank you, Mike. Sir
Thank
Mike.
you, my lord. Thank
Well,
you.
I hope that was helpful.
It was very much. Thank you.
And now we will take a moment to clear the cards, and then we'll go on to Lynn. And hello, Lynn, wherever you are. I know you're not in the Zoom. Notice that the cards are not jumping out of the deck this time. When we talk about energy and things like that, it really is a real phenomenon. I don't imagine anyone here doubts that, but if you did, the way the cards are reacting will show. Now we're going to shuffle up for Lynn for a general reading. Now that we're actually focused on Lynn, they're jumping a little more, but not like they were before. We're going to draw 3 cards for Lynn, and the first card is Thalia. After all that shuffling, Thalia makes another appearance with Sagittarius and Melpomene. So this is general reading, and Thalia and Melpomene are 2 muses that go together. One is tragedy or drama, and one is comedy. And in the center is Sagittarius. And Sagittarius as a sign is very philosophical, rather adventurous, very wide-ranging in interests and behaviors. And I'm going to draw one more card to go with these before I tell you how I take them. And we've drawn Cancer. And Cancer is emotion, also a focus on matters of the heart. So what I would say for Lynn is that in general, at this time and in the next few months, Lynn is going to be moving forward probably in multiple directions, expanding and having new experiences that are going to bring both I'm going to say positive and negative, but I don't necessarily mean negative in a terrible way, but there'll be things that are more fun than others. Some will be drama, some will be comedy, but it's important to keep a focus on the things that really matter while experiencing this. Now I'm going to draw one more. and we've drawn the Seven of Lamps, which is purification. And what I would recommend for Lynn in going through this is to cleanse your energy, to purify yourself in whatever way that you would do that. People have lots of different ways. And keep your energy clear so that you're responding to your own emotions and not what you might pick up from others. And I'm going to go so far as to say that I suspect that Lynn is sufficiently psychically open to be picking up emotions from other people. And that's very important to practice good psychic hygiene going forward through this period, so the emotions that Lynn is dealing with are their own emotions and not other people. I would say that this is a time of psychic growth and psychic opening beyond whatever already is there. Enjoy it, but keep your focus on what really matters to you. And there'll be lots of things happening on all sides, some of them good, some of them not as good, but they're just the passing show. You want to keep your eye on your personal path and keep your energy clear, and that way you'll get where you're wanting to go. I hope that was helpful. And we can do another one if we have.
All right, next we have Fluffy.
And this will be the last of the broadcast.
Okay, so this will be the last one that we do during the broadcast. We will continue afterwards, but we don't want to extend the broadcast to a ridiculous length of time. So Fluffy will be our last broadcast reading. Hello, Fluffy. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. Thank you. So
I liked the foot meme earlier today.
Oh, yes. Thank you. I'm having a lot of fun with that one. Thank you. So last week, yes, thank you. Last week you had, for last week's reading, you had said I need to maintain a spiritual practice. And for me, whenever I try to do something with the abilities I'm given, it works in some shape or form. It works really well. And so that makes me a bit worried about what I'm doing nowadays. And so I'm wondering, do I need to dial this back a notch, or do I need to kick it up a notch? Or what does spirituality for me actually look like? Because I could talk to spirits, I could talk to deities, I could telepathically communicate with people. I mean, I got a giant bag of tricks, and I do a meditation on a regular basis. So I'm just a bit lost right now as to what I should be doing.
Okay. Well, let us see what they have to say.
Thank you.
I'm also going to add in the numerology deck to expand our possible answers. And let me take a moment to get them good and confused, and then we'll go. Okay, and we're going to start with drawing 3 cards. And our first card is Jupiter. Our second card is Gemini. And our third card is Urania. And then this card seems to want to slide out from underneath, and it's the 8 of Coins, or the 8 of Pentacles. And you saw me shuffle this deck. And it has 100 tarot cards per se, but it's still giving us majority astrological and muse cards. But you saw it be shuffled up, and you saw me draw from different parts. So it's definitely what it wants to say. And this is something that I believe very strongly in tarot. It will give you what it needs to give you. And with our expansion decks, if they're what's needed, they are what will come. So the first part of your question is whether you kick it up or scale it back. So let me tell you what these cards say, and then I'll tell you how I take that. Jupiter is a card of expansion. It's also a card of mastery, of organization, of increase. You see that he's distributing coins in one hand and holding an orb in the other. It's a card of rulership. Gemini is kind of a Janus-faced card, a kind of a Janus-faced sign. It is one and the other, as opposed to one or the other. And Urania is, as a muse, Urania is the patron of astronomy, astrology, and the sciences. In this question, she obviously represents spiritual skills, viewed as sciences and pursued as such. The Eight of Pentacles represents gaining your skill, perfecting your skill, coming into your strength. So what I would take these to say is that, yes, you're definitely at this time coming into greater strength than you have had before. You definitely do want to expand and increase what you're doing. There is no other way I could take Jupiter. Urania says, be open to new things that are coming to you, new ways of doing things. And Gemini says, keep one foot on both sides, because Gemini always hedges its bets at the same time that it goes wholeheartedly into both at the same time. Gemini is the resolution of opposites. So I would say, considering that what we're saying is to expand what you're doing, I would say that Gemini says also stay well-grounded. Not normally what we associate with Gemini, but as the other face of the question, make sure you stay well-grounded, but do go ahead and expand. I'm going to draw one more card because, again, I can't help it. And we've drawn Virgo, yet another astrological card out of this vast pile of cards, most of which are not astrological. But Virgo is in the details. But we're asking specifically about spiritual growth. And I would take that to mean, to be a reference to psychic hygiene, to making sure that, again, you're staying grounded, you're not being overwhelmed by what you're doing, but you're making sure to keep your foot on the ground at the same time. Going forward, therefore, with strength and not being overwhelmed by these things. And I think that you'll be very happy with what comes from it. And there you go.
Thank you. And I'm laughing by that last comment, but this makes perfect sense. Thank you. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you.
Very clear and concise.
I try to be clear and concise. Sometimes I succeed. Of course, if you read my books, you know that I can also be anything but concise, but I put a lot in. So at this point, I'm just going to say a few more words, and then we will end the live broadcast and continue with the chat room informally. But I want to encourage everyone, if you find these cards interesting, to check them out at tarotai.com. And there you will find out information about all the different expansion decks. There are, I expect we'll be adding the Witches deck in the next couple of days. And even once the Kickstarter has ended, we do plan to continue perennially expanding this tarot. The idea is that it will be constantly expanded. And with that, I thank you for listening, and may you blessed be.
You're at 98.21.
And we're at 98.21. So we've almost made that 10,000 mark. Yay.